Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. My name is Artina McCain.
My name is Martin McCain.
And we are the McCain Duo, and we are so excited to be continuing our Elevate series from our home. And we have Adam Sadberry today.
Yes, principal flutist of the Memphis Symphony Orchestra.
And just an amazing chamber musician. And I'm sure he has lots of other things that we don't even know that he's going to tell us about. So we are excited to have him on the show today, and we hope that you enjoy. Welcome, Adam.
Welcome, Adam.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure for you to, for us to be able to talk with you and chat. We're so excited to have you here. You just finished your first season, a very interesting first season with the Memphis Symphony Orchestra as the principal flute. How was that? Even just like your transition moving to Memphis and there's such a bizarre season ending.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind to say the least. Getting to Memphis was not too difficult if we're talking just logistically. I was coming from Detroit because I just finished up a fellowship with the Detroit Symphony as the African-American fellow there, or as one of them. So it was like a 16-hour drive in one day, just pulled up into town. I slept really hard the next couple of days because no one needs to do that type of stuff. I do not recommend. But I mean, that was easy enough. But being here in Memphis with the symphony has been a really wonderful experience, even if we're considering what's going on right now. And I'll get to that in a second. But the orchestra is filled with amazing human beings that really care about themselves and the music, even considering the not so ideal financial circumstances that the orchestra has been in the past several years. But everyone just goes in, gives it their all, and I've been feeding off of energy and feel like I'm one of the team. So that's been really cool. And right now, the reason why I say things are pretty good even still is because the symphony has done a really good job of making sure that all the musicians are still getting paid. So they've found maybe some really nice donors that care about us, but we're still getting paychecks, and the CEO, Peter Abel, is doing all he can to make sure things are staying bright for the future. So it's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because you're hearing so much about these different orchestra organizations that are furloughs and musicians being laid off. It's crazy.
Right. We are very, very lucky here. So I'm trying to send all of my good vibes and donating, here and there where I can to orchestras that do need that help. But all we can do is really help each other out and support mentally in a lot of ways.
So Adam, could you tell us about your musical journey? Where you're from, how did you choose the flute and all that good stuff?
Sure. Okay. So my musical journey began actually in a church youth choir way back in second grade. So my first introduction was just singing my heart out in a chapel, just having the best time of my life. And I did that almost all the way through high school, and along the way I picked up other stuff. So I played piano for a couple of years between fourth and sixth grade, and then at the beginning of sixth grade I picked up the flute. And to this day, I really couldn't tell you exactly why I chose the flute. I think I went to a band concert with my parents at one point, and I saw someone playing it, and I just said, that's it. I was like, when are we going to music and arts? We gotta get this done now.
Music and arts. Very Texas thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, and I'm from Montgomery, Texas, I should specify, which is a town about an hour north of Houston. So I wouldn't quite say it's like a suburb of it, just kind of like a half country, half, I don't know. It was an interesting place to grow up. I can say that much. So once I picked up the flute, at first it was just kind of a fun thing I was doing along with my friends and with my parents supporting me. And by the time I got to about my freshman year of high school, I realized that it was something that I kind of needed to keep in my life. I started to really feel that it was adding something essential to my being. So I started taking lessons with a person in town. Like whenever in Texas we have like our region band and all state auditions and stuff. When I was a freshman, I like made third chair in region and I made it to area, and I was pretty close to making state. And I was like, if I can do that, I think I should, keep going. So um, I eventually got a different teacher my junior year of high school, who was a former professor at University of Houston. And that was when everything changed, because that's whenever I started to see exactly how much work was required in order to succeed, and the depth of, availability that, there is in music. So I just kind of followed her footsteps and did what she told me to do, and ended up going to Eastman School of Music for my undergrad. I was very, very fortunate for that, because I had an amazing teacher named Benita Boyd, supportive mother figure, and with me when I needed to, but was really a fantastic place to be for school. And after finishing up my degree there, I immediately started with the Detroit Symphony as one of their fellows, as I mentioned beforehand. So I kind of skipped the whole master's degree thing. And I might end up doing that later down the road if I need to, but if I can just keep making music and not have to, pay a boatload of money to go back, then I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome that you mentioned that. You're like one of the few rock stars that like not only surpasses the masters, but you got a job.
Right.
So tell us, since you're not as far removed from the student experience, tell our listeners, what has that been like? Like, what did you or have you learned as a professional? Just like 2 years in the business, right?
Yeah.
That you knew when you were a student.
Man, okay. There are so many things that are impossible to learn until you get into the professional setting. So I think as a student, what you really need to do is to take all the opportunities you can to learn and to plan in different environments, and to do all of those extra gigs while you have time and that cushioning, so you can go out and feel as prepared as you can for those sorts of things. So right now for myself, I'm not in really a say yes to everything sort of position, because I'm still trying to focus in and make sure I'm doing my job well. But while you're in school and have time, I think that's the best place to push yourself and see what's going on. Also, in terms of relationships with people, make sure you're a good citizen. Always and forever, because people will remember, if you did one thing or if someone said something. I haven't had that, thank goodness, but I'm seeing some people starting to suffer from that, that are like in my class, starting to understand that they should have maybe considered their actions a little bit more strongly. So
No, I think it's really huge as a young person. That when you say be a good citizen, are you talking about in school? Are you saying like students in school now should still be good citizens? Because I think that's something undergrads don't think about too much.
Right.
Oh yeah. That's when you build some of the relationships that'll take you the absolute furthest. Eastman is known for being like a family environment, and I know there are a lot of alumni that I've met even here in Memphis that I feel like I'm close friends with just because we've mentioned that connection. And if you're not taking advantage of that opportunity to build something to take on, then you're doing it wrong, really. Every person has something to contribute to society, and if you find a way to add people to that journey of yours, and make it feel real, then that's something that you got to do. Just it's natural, it's organic, it's just something we all need to consider.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, what are some things that you do, like, away from music? Do you have any hobbies?
Before quarantine, the answer would have been no. Yeah, I mean, I like played video games, and like I did like some like rock climbing here and there with some buddies, but I was really, really, really just focused on music, which is part of why I'm here, but I'm learning that I need to keep expanding. So lately I've been doing a lot of bike riding. So I've been going like up and down here in Memphis on the Green Line. If you're going from like Midtown and downtown, it goes all the way to Shelby Farms, which is a cool park that's nearby, and it's like for me, it's like a 27-mile round trip. So I've been doing that a lot and feeling the breeze on my scalp and just loving it all.
That's awesome. And so, since you are like, you said you're really focused on music, what are some of your big dreams? I mean, I think it's awesome how much you've accomplished in such a short amount of time,
Yeah.
like as just, out of your undergrad. But what are some things you want to do, or what are some things that you see yourself maybe even expanding to as a musician?
Sure. So I think for me, I don't really have a lot of specific things that I'd like to do. It's more putting myself in a position where I can be with people that inspire me musically and elsewhere. I mean, I love orchestral playing. So if I somehow ended up playing in, an orchestra for the rest of my life, I'd be happy to. If I got more opportunities to play chamber music somewhere and like do some touring with the random groups or collectives, like the Chamber Music Society program or something in New York. I mean, that's like a goal. That takes time and effort, but that would be something awesome. But I mean, I really just want to make music and do it with people that inspire me and make me happy to be with them. That's a lot of it. That's with and without, with and outside of classical music.
Yeah.
Wow. And was that kind of your goal when you went to Detroit, or was that kind of like, let's see what happens, I'm going to go do the master's degree, or like, what was that like?
So, whenever I got the fellowship, I said, I guess I'll focus on the orchestral stuff for now. So I spent most of my time practicing excerpts and taking audition after audition, some going more well than others. And part of me started to realize while I was there that I started to understand the pressures of orchestral playing a little bit more in order to consider how much more I needed to be a part of it. So, I did some soul searching there. And the summer after Detroit, I went to a chamber music festival. And that was really refreshing because I didn't feel like I had to be like a perfect unit within like a 100-person piece group. I felt like I could be more of an expressive individual and feel more attached to each, person around me a little bit more. So I'd love to keep all of that going and do more solo stuff. I'd love to do some like competitions and stuff if those are ever possible again. uh, yeah, but I'm really trying to keep the doors open and being just as versatile as I can be.
Wow, this is amazing stuff.
Yeah, versatility is so
I got a lot of sleep last night, so.
I think what you said about versatility is huge because, especially, all of us really as musicians, we kind of, we get into these little corners in school, like, oh, I'm going to be an orchestral musician, or I'm music ed, or I'm going to teach. And it's really important for us to think about different things that we can do. And you're already doing that. So that's awesome.
Somehow or another.
Yeah. So just speaking of like chamber music and solo stuff and competitions, that's something that's awesome that you could do. You're already professional, so I feel like you would just go in and sweep everybody, but okay.
Probably not. I'm going to try though.
What advice do you have for somebody like yourself that's young professional and is in that mode where they might want to do competitions or, like you said, solo stuff, especially instrumentalists? Because I think, at least for me, it's different than being a pianist or maybe even a wind. Well, you guys both blow stuff. I don't know. But what would you say to like a young professional about the competition market?
So I view competitions in the most positive way that I can for myself. That's the only way I can make myself do them. And that's an opportunity to learn and grow and to push yourself as far as you can. So for instance, like the ARD Munich competition was coming up in Munich, Germany, and they kept extending the deadline because of the just unknowns with coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. And so it got to the point when there was a month left and I decided I was going to just try to record a tape and just see what happened. And because this was already after the symphony had stopped doing concerts, I had all the time in the world. So all I needed to record were two pieces that were both 3 minutes and unaccompanied. One was a Jolivet piece and another was a Telemann. And so I just spent a ton of time researching the composers and listening to the music and just trying to get an understanding of the style and just the concepts that I wanted to pursue. And the point was to lose myself in the enjoyment of learning the music. So if the competition had actually not been canceled, then things might have actually continued onward. But the point was to just kind of see how much I could get out of it for myself. Because I mean, everything is cumulative musically. So hopefully, you know, if the competition comes back, maybe I can keep using this stuff, and even not, I understand the concepts a little bit more and the mentality that I need to maintain whenever I'm doing all of those things. So that's most of it.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Because I think a lot of young professionals, you know, especially the students I teach, they want to win. I mean, who doesn't want to win, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But so much more than that. I mean, like you said, learning the music. I mean,
Yeah.
you can broaden your repertoire so much. And I mean, yeah, you might win, which would be great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just going through the process. I mean, it's a learning experience within itself.
Exactly.
Right. And you know, just putting yourself out there is an accomplishment in itself, because you have to make yourself feel like you have a chance to begin with. So that's another thing. I mean, telling yourself that you can try for those things that you think might be maybe above your skill level. I mean, if you don't ever take the initiative to see if you can get there, then what's the destination gonna be, you know? So it's always about pushing yourself and having faith and accepting that, you know, whatever happens.
Yes. And I'm sure you probably feel this, that you grow even when you don't get the prize, and you probably make connections like you were speaking about earlier. So there's other benefits besides that dollar sign.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I have to say, I mean, I've lost way more auditions and competitions than I've won. I mean, there might be like one person ever that's just won everything they've you know, gone out for. So it's just a good reminder that, you know, failure is healthy and normal.
Failure is healthy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And it produces success at some point. So yeah, that's huge. So Adam, I mean, this has been awesome talking to you. What are you going to be doing this summer?
Man, more biking. I'll be playing some Smash Bros. If things become safer, I'll probably go out and do some more attempted camping or something. You know, going out to see nice nature stuff. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just trying to fill the void, basically.
Yeah.
What about y'all?
We're hanging out this summer, working on some projects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're trying to practice. That's been really difficult in Corona season with no concerts. I didn't realize how goal oriented I was.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have that site run in front of you, it's kind of like what is it? What's happening?
So we're gonna be doing some recording projects. So that's the goal, to practice.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. And I guess I should say that I'm still practicing flute a little bit. I haven't completely abandoned it. So, you know, I'm keeping it up as much as I can. Oh, and in August, beforehand, I was supposed to be giving a recital in Seattle. I don't know what things are going to look like at that point. With Joseph Williams, the pianist, who I think you both know from Gateways, which is where we met, which is awesome. So if that happens, then that'll be cool, but it's still up in the air because it's hard to see that far in advance.
Yeah, we're on like a 10-day calendar these days.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, tell our audience, where can they find you if they want to go find some of your awesome flute playing, or they just want to connect with you in general?
Sure. I'm on Instagram, Adam Happyberry. You can find, you know, I just stay true to my name. You know, I might be Sadberry, but I try to be on the other side.
I like it.
And I am on YouTube. I haven't put out anything recently, but if you Google my name or YouTube my name, you'll find probably more things than I want to be there. So, you know, you can find all sorts of stuff out there, but I'll eventually build a website, but that's about it for now.
Okay, that's great.
Awesome.
Adam Happyberry. I love it. I wasn't even thinking like sad. I'm like, oh yeah, it's sad, happy.
I like
Yeah,
that.
Very creative.
Got a balance.
Well, Adam, it's been awesome
Yes.
chatting with you today.
Thank you for being here.
And you're such an inspiration, especially for all of us, but especially young professionals. I think you're killing it. So
Thank you so much. Y'all are amazing as well. I've just seeing y'all take your careers and make them so unique and passionate in all of the ways. It's amazing. So y'all are killing it too.
thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.